The underground hall reeked of desperation and greed. Dim lanterns cast flickering shadows across stone walls that had witnessed countless transactions. Werewolves sold like cattle, their dignity stripped away by poverty or cruelty. Tonight, the air felt heavier than usual, thick with the scent of fear and resignation. Lena stood on the wooden platform, her wrists bound with silver-laced rope that burned against her skin. Her loose dress did little to hide the swell of her belly, 5 months pregnant, marked by shame in the eyes of her pack. The auctioneer's voice boomed through the chamber, listing her attributes like merchandise: young, healthy, compliant. He conveniently omitted that she carried a child, a secret her mother had paid him handsomely to conceal until after the sale. In the shadows of the crowd, Lena's mother stood with cold eyes, counting the coins she would receive. Margaret had always been bitter, widowed young, and left with a daughter she viewed as a burden. When Lena returned home pregnant and abandoned by her mate, Margaret saw only one solution: sell the girl and be done with both problems at once. Lena's wolf whimpered inside her, weakened by silver and heartbreak. She had believed in destiny once, believed that her fated mate would cherish her. Instead, Derek had taken what he wanted and vanished the moment she revealed her pregnancy, leaving her to face his rejection alone. Now, she stood here, sold by her own blood, carrying a child who would be born into slavery. The bidding began. Voices called out numbers, amounts that would determine her worth, her future. Lena kept her eyes downcast, unable to bear the hungry stares of males who saw her only as property. Some bid for labor, others for darker purposes. Each voice felt like another chain around her neck. Then a new voice cut through the chaos, deep, commanding, and edged with authority, that silenced the room instantly. 50,000. The crowd turned as one. Even the auctioneer stumbled over his words. 50,000 was more than triple the highest bid, an amount that could buy 10 Omegas or a small territory. Lena raised her eyes and saw him. Alpha Kyle Ashworth stood at the back of the hall, his presence dominating the space despite his stillness. He was massive, broad-shouldered and scarred, with silver threading through his dark hair, a warrior in his prime who commanded the Northern Reach, one of the most powerful territories in the realm. His eyes were steel-gray and penetrating, fixed on Lena with an intensity that made her breath catch. The auctioneer recovered quickly, greed overtaking surprise. 50,000 going once. 60,000, another voice challenged, a merchant known for his cruelty. Kyle didn't even glance at the competitor. 100,000. Final offer. Anyone else wishes to waste my time? Silence fell like a guillotine. No one dared challenge an alpha of Kale's reputation. The auctioneer's hands trembled as he brought down the gavel. Sold to Alpha Ashworth. Lena's legs nearly gave out. 100,000. She had been purchased by one of the most feared alphas in the kingdom, a male rumored to be ruthless in battle and cold in temperament. Stories whispered that he had lost his mate years ago and had sworn never to bond again, that his heart had turned to stone. Kyle moved through the crowd with predatory grace. When he reached the platform, he pulled a knife from his belt and Lena flinched. But instead of harming her, he cut the silver ropes with swift precision. The relief was immediate, her wrists red and raw but free. "Can you walk?" His voice was surprisingly gentle, though his expression remained unreadable. Lena nodded, not trusting her voice. Kyle removed his heavy cloak and draped it over her shoulders, concealing her pregnancy from prying eyes. The fabric smelled of pine and winter storms, unmistakably alpha. As they left the auction house, Lena caught a glimpse of her mother in the crowd, clutching her payment with satisfaction. Their eyes met for a brief moment. Margaret showed no remorse, no second thoughts. Lena turned away, knowing she would never see her mother again. Kyle's carriage waited outside, sleek and marked with the crest of the Northern Reach, a wolf beneath a full moon. He helped her inside with unexpected care, then climbed in across from her. As the carriage lurched forward, Lena finally found her voice. "Why?" The word came out as barely a whisper. "Why would you pay so much for someone like me?" Kyle studied her for a long moment, his grey eyes revealing nothing. "Because I could smell the lies in that room. They tried to hide what you carry, thinking it would lower your value." He paused, his jaw tightening. I lost my mate 6 years ago. She was with child. I lost them both in a rogue attack. Couldn't save either of them. Lena's hand instinctively moved to her belly, protective and afraid. I won't touch you, Kyle continued, his voice rough with old pain. You and your child will be safe in my territory. You'll have a home, protection and freedom once the debt of purchase is worked off through household service. Nothing more. Tears blurred Lena's vision, not from fear, but from the unexpected mercy in his words. She had expected a master who would use her, discard her child, treat her as the worthless omega her mother had proclaimed her to be. Instead, this powerful alpha offered something she had lost. Hope. Thank you, she whispered, the words inadequate for the magnitude of what he had given her. Kyle turned to look out the window at the passing forest, moonlight illuminating his scarred profile. Don't thank me yet. The northern reach is harsh and my pack doesn't take kindly to outsiders. You'll have to prove yourself. Lena straightened her spine, feeling her wolf stir with renewed strength. I will. For my child, I'll endure anything. Something flickered in Kyle's eyes. Respect, perhaps, or recognition of the fierce maternal instinct that now drove her. We'll see. The carriage rolled through the night toward the northern reach, carrying an alpha haunted by loss and an omega carrying hope in her womb. Neither knew that the goddess had woven their fates together long before this night, that the child Lena carried would become the miracle Kyle had stopped praying for. Chapter 2. The northern reach dawn broke over the northern reach as the carriage crested the final hill. Lena pressed her face to the window, breath catching at the sight before her. The territory sprawled across a valley of ancient pines, with a river cutting through its heart like a silver vein. At the center stood the Alpha's residence, not the fortress she expected, but a grand lodge built of timber and stone, its architecture harmonious with the wilderness surrounding it. But it was the pack members that made Lena's stomach twist with anxiety. Dozens of wolves had gathered at the entrance, alerted by scouts of their Alpha's return. Their expressions ranged from curious to hostile as the carriage stopped. Lena could smell their suspicion, their judgment. Kyle descended first, greeting his beta with a brief nod. Marcus was a mountain of a man with kind eyes that assessed Lena carefully as Kyle helped her down. The cloak had slipped, revealing her pregnancy, and shocked murmurs rippled through the crowd. Everyone, listen, Kale's voice commanded instant silence. This is Lena. She's under my protection. She'll work in the main house. And anyone who disrespects her answers to me personally. A woman pushed forward from the crowd, tall, beautiful, and radiating aggression. Lena recognized the jealous rage of a female who had set her sights on the Alpha. You bought a pregnant omega? Have you lost your mind, Kale? We don't need another mouth to feed, especially not some reject carrying another male's bastard. The insult hung in the air like poison. Lena's wolf snarled, but she forced herself to remain still, knowing any reaction would make things worse. Kale's eyes flashed gold, his alpha aura exploding outward with such force that wolves stumbled back, automatically baring their throats in submission. Even the aggressive female Cassandra, Lena would learn, dropped to her knees whimpering. You forget yourself, Cassandra. Kyle's voice was glacier cold. I am alpha here. My decisions are not yours to question. Lena is pack now, and pack protects its own. He turned to Marcus. Take her to the East Wing. Make sure she has everything she needs. Marcus nodded, his expression warm as he gestured for Lena to follow. Come on, let's get you settled before the gossip vultures descend. The interior of the lodge was stunning. Vaulted ceilings, massive fireplaces, and windows that brought the forest inside. Marcus led her through corridors decorated with tapestries depicting pack history, finally stopping at a door in the quieter East Wing. This will be your room, he said, opening it to reveal a space far more generous than she expected. A large bed, a writing desk, and a window overlooking the forest. Bathrooms through there. You'll find clothes in the wardrobe. Maternity wear. I imagine Kyle thought of that. Lena stepped inside, overwhelmed. I don't understand. I'm supposed to be a servant, but this room... Marcus smiled gently. Kale's bark is worse than his bite. He sees himself in broken things, probably because he's been broken himself. Lost his mate, Elena, 6 years ago. She was sunshine personified, and when she died, something in him died too. He paused at the door. Get some rest. Tomorrow you'll meet Margaret. No relation to your mother, thankfully. She runs the household staff. She'll explain your duties. After he left, Lena sank onto the bed, her body finally registering the exhaustion of the past day. Her hand rested on her belly, feeling the gentle flutter of movement. "We're safe, little one," she whispered. "We're going to be okay." The following weeks blurred into a routine. Lena worked in the kitchens and helped with household management, tasks she performed gratefully despite her growing belly. The pack remained divided. Some, like Marcus and the older wolves, accepted her presence. Others, led by Cassandra, made their disdain clear through cold stares and whispered insults. Kyle maintained distance, their interactions brief and professional. Yet Lena noticed things: how he ensured she received extra portions at meals, how he positioned guards near her quarters at night, how his eyes tracked her movements across rooms, as if ensuring her safety without wanting to acknowledge it. One evening, 6 weeks after her arrival, Lena was walking through the gardens when she heard raised voices. She followed the sound to find Kyle and Cassandra arguing near the tree line. "You can't keep protecting her." Cassandra's voice was shrill with frustration. "The pack is talking." "Kyle, they think you've gone soft, that you're wasting resources on an Omega who means nothing." "Then they're fools," Kyle replied, his tone dangerous. "And you overstep, Cassandra. Again." "I overstep?" Cassandra laughed bitterly. "I've been here for you for years, waiting, hoping you'd finally move on from Elena's ghost. Instead, you bring home a pregnant stranger and treat her like she's precious. What I do is my business." "You're falling for her." Cassandra's accusation rang out. "You're falling for that Omega and her bastard child, and you're too stubborn to admit it." The silence that followed was deafening. Lena pressed herself against the wall, heart pounding, afraid to breathe. When Kyle spoke again, his voice was quiet but firm. "What I feel or don't feel doesn't concern you. Your jealousy is tiresome, Cassandra. This is your final warning. Respect Lena, or leave my territory." Footsteps approached, and Lena fled before she could be discovered. She made it back to her room, closing the door with trembling hands. Cassandra's words echoed in her mind. "You're falling for her." Was it true? Did Kale feel something beyond duty and guilt? And more terrifying, did she feel something for him? Lena had sworn never to trust another alpha after Derek's betrayal, yet Kale was nothing like Derek. He was honorable, protective without being possessive, strong without being cruel. Sometimes she caught herself watching him during pack meals, admiring the way he led with both strength and wisdom, how he listened to concerns from the lowest Omega to the highest warrior. She placed her hand on her belly, feeling her daughter kick. Yes, daughter. The pack healer had confirmed it last week. A little girl who would grow up in safety, who would never know the rejection her mother had suffered. "Your father doesn't want us," Lena whispered to her unborn child, "but maybe we're exactly where the goddess meant us to be." Chapter 3. The Storm and the Bond. The first snow came early that year, blanketing the northern reach in white silence. Lena was 8 months pregnant now, her body heavy and tired, but her spirit stronger than ever. She had earned respect from most of the pack through quiet determination and genuine kindness, though Cassandra's faction remained hostile. Kyle had grown even more protective as her due date approached, assigning guards to accompany her everywhere. Their conversations had lengthened, evolving from polite exchanges to genuine talks about pack politics, philosophy, and carefully avoided personal topics. Lena felt the pull between them growing stronger, an invisible thread the goddess seemed to weave tighter each day. One evening, Marcus found Lena in the library, reading by firelight. His expression was troubled. "There's a situation," he said carefully. "Rogues have been spotted near the southern border. A large group organized. Kyle's taking warriors out at dawn to address it." Lena's blood ran cold. How dangerous? Dangerous enough. These aren't ordinary rogues. Someone's coordinating them. Marcus sat across from her, his voice gentle. "I'm telling you because I know you'll worry anyway, but also because—" "Lena, has Kale told you about Elena?" "Only that he lost her and their child to rogues." Marcus nodded slowly. It was an organized attack, much like this one. They targeted her specifically because she was pregnant, trying to destroy Cale's legacy. He blames himself for not being there, for not preventing it. He met her eyes. He's going to be reckless tomorrow, fighting like he has nothing to lose, because for 6 years he's believed he doesn't. Understanding dawned. Until now. Until now, Marcus confirmed. You and your daughter, you've given him something he thought was gone forever. Hope. But he doesn't know how to handle it, so he'll bury it under duty and throw himself into danger rather than face what he's feeling. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. She paced her room, her daughter restless inside her, as if sensing her mother's agitation. Finally, as midnight approached, she made a decision. Wrapping herself in warm layers, she left her room and navigated the quiet corridors to Kyle's private study. She knocked softly. "Kyle, it's Lena." Silence, then footsteps. The door opened, revealing Kyle in simple clothes, his hair disheveled, maps spread across his desk. He looked surprised, but not displeased. "Lena, is something wrong? The baby—" "She's fine, we're fine." Lena stepped inside, closing the door. "I needed to talk to you before tomorrow." Kyle's expression shuttered. "Marcus told you. Don't be angry with him. He's worried about you. We all are." Lena moved closer, her hand unconsciously resting on her belly. "You're planning to fight like you have nothing to live for." "I'm planning to protect my pack." His voice was defensive, walls rising. "By getting yourself killed." Lena's voice cracked with emotion she couldn't hide. "Kyle, please. I know I'm just an Omega you purchased, that I have no right to—" "Just an Omega?" Kyle's laugh was harsh. "Lena, do you have any idea what you've done to me? I swore never to care again, never to let anyone pass these walls. And then you arrived, brave, broken, carrying a child with the same fierce determination Elena had. You made me remember what it felt like to want to come home at night, to care whether I lived or died." His admission hung in the air between them, raw and honest. Lena's heart hammered against her ribs. "Then don't throw it away," she whispered. "Don't throw us away. Your pack needs their alpha, and I—" She swallowed hard. "I need you to come back. Not as the male who purchased me, but as the alpha who gave me a home when I had nothing, who made me feel worth something again." Kyle crossed the distance between them in 2 strides, his hands coming up to cup her face with trembling gentleness. "You are worth everything, Lena. Everything. And that terrifies me because I can't lose someone I love again. I won't survive it." "Love." The word escaped as barely a breath. "Love," Cale confirmed, his forehead resting against hers. "I've been fighting it for months, but the goddess has a cruel sense of humor. She took my first mate and child, then brought me you and your daughter. A second chance I don't deserve but can't resist wanting." Tears streamed down Lena's face. "You deserve every happiness, Cale. You saved me when no one else would. You gave my daughter a future. How could I not fall in love with you?" The kiss was inevitable, gentle despite the intensity of emotion behind it. Kyle's hands moved to her lower back, careful of her pregnant belly, holding her as if she were precious and fragile. Lena's fingers threaded through his hair, 6 months of denied longing pouring into that single moment of connection. When they finally parted, both were breathless. Kyle rested his hand over hers on her belly, feeling the baby kick against his palm. His expression transformed, wonder and joy replacing the haunted pain that usually shadowed his eyes. "She knows you," Lena said softly. "She's been kicking whenever you're near, as if she's trying to get your attention. What will you name her?" "I was thinking. Eleanor Hope, to honor what was lost and celebrate what we've found." Kyle's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "Elena would have loved that, and she would have loved you." They stayed like that for a long time, the Alpha and the Omega he'd saved, foreheads pressed together, sharing breath and heartbeat and hope. "Promise me you'll be careful tomorrow," Lena finally said. "Promise you'll come back to us." "I promise," Kyle vowed, sealing it with another kiss. "I have too much to live for now to be reckless. But Lena, there's something you need to understand. Those rogues, they're not random. Someone is targeting pregnant Omegas in my territory. Until we know why, you and the baby aren't safe." Fear clenched Lena's heart. What do you mean? I mean, tomorrow isn't just about defending borders. It's about ending whoever orchestrated Elena's death and preventing them from harming you. Chapter 4. The Goddess's Gift. Dawn broke cold and merciless. Kyle assembled his warriors in the courtyard, 50 of the pack's finest fighters ready to face the rogue threat. Lena watched from her window, her hand pressed against the glass, silently begging the goddess to bring him home safely. Marcus approached Kale with last-minute intelligence. The rogues are camped 5 miles south. There's something else. Scouts identified their leader. It's Victor Blackthorn. Kale's expression darkened. Blackthorn? I should have known. Who is he? Lena had joined them despite Kyle's orders to stay inside, too anxious to remain isolated. A rival alpha who lost his territory to the Council for Corruption, Kale explained grimly. He blamed me for testifying against him. Killing Elena was his revenge, taking from me what mattered most. And now he knows about me, Lena realized, ice flooding her veins. Which is why you'll stay here with 20 guards, Kyle said firmly. The lodge is fortified. You'll be safe. Their goodbye was brief but intense, a kiss that promised return and a future neither dared fully voice. Then Kale was gone, leading his warriors into the forest with Marcus at his side. Hours crawled past like years. Lena tried to occupy herself with small tasks, but anxiety made concentration impossible. Her daughter seemed to sense the tension, moving restlessly, pressing against Lena's ribs as if trying to escape. Around midday, pain lanced through Lena's abdomen, sharp and undeniable. She gasped, gripping the table for support. No, she whispered. Not now. Please, not now. But babies follow their own timeline. Another contraction hit, stronger than the first. The healer was summoned immediately, confirming Lena's fears. You're in labor. The stress likely triggered it early, but the baby's position is good. We need to get you to the birthing room. As Lena labored through increasingly painful contractions, chaos erupted outside. Shouts rang out, followed by the sound of clashing steel and snarling wolves. The rogues hadn't waited for Kale to find them. They'd come straight to the lodge. It's a distraction. Marcus's voice boomed through the mind link to all pack members. Half the rogues engaged us in the forest, while Victor led the rest to the lodge. All guards to defensive positions. Protect the Luna. Lena had never been formally named Luna, but in that moment of crisis the title felt right. The pack fought desperately to hold the perimeter, while Lena struggled to bring new life into the world, surrounded by healers and protected by guards who would die before letting Victor reach her. The battle raged for hours. Kyle fought like a demon possessed, cutting through rogues to reach home, terror driving him faster than strategy. He'd realized too late the attack was designed to split his forces, leaving Lena vulnerable. In the birthing room, Lena screamed as she pushed, her daughter determined to be born despite the violence surrounding them. The healer coached her through each contraction, wiping her brow and murmuring encouragements. One more push, Lena. Your daughter is almost here. Lena bore down with every ounce of strength, and suddenly the room filled with the furious cry of a newborn. The healer lifted a squirming, perfect baby girl, her tiny fists waving in indignation at being thrust into such a chaotic world. She's perfect, the healer breathed, placing the baby on Lena's chest, healthy and strong. Lena gazed at her daughter through tears of joy and exhaustion, counting tiny fingers and toes, marveling at the miracle she'd carried for 9 months. Elena Hope had arrived, but the moment of peace shattered as the door burst open. A massive rogue forced his way past guards, bloodied but determined. Victor Blackthorn, his eyes locked on Lena and the baby with predatory hunger. Perfect timing, Victor snarled. Kyle took everything from me. Now I take everything from him, starting with his new family. Lena clutched her daughter closer, her wolf rising despite her exhaustion. You'll have to kill me first. That's the plan. Victor lunged, and Kyle crashed through the window in wolf form, glass exploding inward. He was magnificent and terrifying, his silver-black wolf massive and scarred from the battle he'd fought to reach them. He placed himself between Victor and Lena, lips pulled back to reveal lethal fangs. The fight was brutal and swift. Victor was strong, but Kyle fought with the desperation of a male protecting his mate and child. When it ended, Victor lay dead, his throat torn out, and Kyle shifted back to human form, bleeding from multiple wounds but alive. "Lena," he gasped, stumbling toward them. "The baby." "She's perfect," Lena sobbed, holding out their daughter. "Kyle, meet Elena Hope." Kyle's knees gave out as he reached them, taking his daughter with trembling hands. The baby stopped crying immediately, her tiny fingers wrapping around his much larger one. Kyle stared at her in wonder, tears cutting tracks through the blood and dirt on his face. "She's real," he whispered in awe. "You're both real." "We're your family," Lena said firmly. "If you'll have us." Kyle looked at her, and in his eyes Lena saw everything she needed: love, devotion, and unshakable commitment. "I loved you the moment I saw you on that auction block, standing proud despite everything trying to break you. I loved you when you walked my halls with your head high despite whispers and glares. I loved you every day you grew bigger, with a child you were determined to protect. Lena, you are my mate, not by fate but by choice. The goddess may not have destined us, but I claim you anyway, if you'll accept me." The traditional claiming words, offered not because the mate bond demanded it, but because the heart required it. "I accept you," Lena answered through tears. "I claim you as mine, Kale Ashworth, Alpha Protector, and the father my daughter deserves." The pack healer witnessed their vows, making them official by pack law. As Kale kissed Lena, their daughter, between them, the goddess's blessing manifested, a warm golden light that enveloped all three, confirming what their hearts already knew. The Northern Reach erupted in celebration that night. An Alpha long thought dead inside had found love again. An Omega sold by her own mother had become Luna, and a baby girl born in the midst of battle had brought redemption, proving that the goddess's gifts often come wrapped in unexpected packages. Standing on the balcony weeks later, Lena watched Kale play with Elena Hope, marveling at how gentle such a powerful Alpha could be. He caught her watching and smiled, a real smile, unguarded and full of joy. "What are you thinking?" he called up to her. "That I was sold for 100,000 coins and gained a kingdom, that the goddess's plans are mysterious but perfect, that we're exactly where we're meant to be." Kale climbed the stairs with Elena in his arms, joining Lena on the balcony. Together they looked out over the Northern Reach, their territory, their home. "We're going to raise her to be strong," Kyle said softly, "to never doubt her worth, to know she's loved beyond measure." "She'll know," Lena agreed, leaning into Kyle's embrace, "because she'll see it every day in how her parents love each other." Eleanor Hope gurgled contentedly between them, a child born of tragedy but raised in love, living proof that even the darkest nights eventually give way to dawn.